Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I guess you can call it a podcast. And today we are here to talk about the Real Housewives of Potomac, our show. This is our stuff, you guys. It's almost over. And I really cannot wait till we get to the reunion. I don't know why, but I'm looking forward to this reunion. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Later on, I guess I'm supposed to tell you to subscribe, like, and comment, but I can tell you that now too. All right, let's get to it. Alright, so the episode picks up exactly where it left off. We're still at the table eating and everything, and Wendy is really enjoying her food, and Giselle is shooting daggers at her. I'm like, dang, girl, give her a break. So she's talking to Robin about how they're going to go to a hotel. The nearest one is only like 2.5 stars. The next one that's really good would be like 30 miles away. And of course, Robin is like, I don't mind driving, not for you, Giselle. She didn't say it that way, but we know that's how she meant it. So then in the confessional, Robin is like, Wendy's a horrible hostess. And I'm like, shut up, Robin. And at the same time, they're showing Wendy just like really enjoying her food. And don't ask me why she's eating like that in public. I mean, that's fine to do at your dinner table if you're playing around, but you're in public. Probably shouldn't be eating like that, Wendy. But I guess they were just trying to show us that she was unbothered. And I'm not mad at the unbothered part. All right, so finally dinner is over. Wendy lets them know that tomorrow we'll be going on a boat. And it's so funny the way she's saying the itinerary. She's just like, tomorrow we're going on a boat. And I'm just like, and what else? Like, can you make it sound a little more inviting? And they get on the bus, and you guys, the bus just tends to be where it all goes down. So Robin is on the bus telling them about her cramps and how they got worse after she had children. We don't care, Robin. We don't care about your cramps. We don't care about you. We don't care. So Karen is across the bus, and she's saying, look at Robin. And she's in her confessional saying, it would be really nice if Juan showed up for Robin, and that way she can stop hanging out with Giselle because she's a bad influence. And I'm like, nah, they're about what and what. And Juan is not thinking about Robin. He's not thinking about coming to surprise her. He can care less. So you can just get that out your head, Karen. Juan's not coming. So Chris yells out, when we get back to the house, can we get some spades going? I'm like, Chris, Jesus, take your butt to bed. And G is like, when I get back to the house, I'm getting me some ass. And Mia's like, apparently I'm a piece of ass. And he's like, my erection is like this. It's just too much. G is just too much. It's always super sexual, and he is just creepy. Finally, he has gone too far, and Mia stands up and says, Gordon, what are you talking about? Like she's finally trying to shut him up now. So yeah, he's doing way too much anytime she's trying to stop him, because we know she thinks it's cute. She thinks it's funny. But at this point, over the top. He's so over the top. I don't know how they dealt with him the whole time. He's really over the top, guys. So this fool turns to Eddie and says that him and Chris are average. Oh my God. And Eddie, you guys, Eddie is just looking at him like he lost his mind. So then Candy says, he's not average. The brown dick is doing what it needs to do. And Gordon looks confused for real. He says, his dick isn't brown, it's white. Mia hollers out, it's pink. Like, it's too much. Too much. Then Chris stands up and acts like he's about to take down his pants, and they all scream. And when they zoom in on Candace's face, I died. She was pissed off. You guys, fun times. You know, I really got my life on this part. So then G says he's going to stand up and whip it out so y'all can see he still got it. And Robin is back there saying, do it, do it. So he stands up and starts gyrating or doing something. And they're all laughing. Good sports. But I'm like, y'all better get G, because he doesn't have a stop button. Like, he doesn't know when he's going too far. So he really would have done it, I thought. So thank God he didn't. So Ashley's in her confessional because she's in the back seat looking just mortified. Oh my God, I cannot. The Karen in her is coming out again. And she's in the confessional like, you know, a lot of people here have issues with Michael, but at least he knows how to conduct himself when he's with friends and family. And then the shady producers go back and show everything Michael has done because he has no couth whatsoever. He's about to jump off the boat and everything, and she's telling him to put his pants back up. Like, Michael is the white G. He just really is. And he's even worse because he's assaulted people and shouldn't be on the show. And you guys, for the record, the white G thing about Michael, I heard on one of my reviewers. I can't remember which one, but when I heard it, I was like, that is so exact. So I just want to give credit to whichever reviewer that was and not take that as my own joke. But it is very true. Michael acts like G. They act the same, one and the same. But I would hate to steal someone else's material. Shade. Catch that. So then G and Ashley get into it because G says he wants to see some pussy popping, and Ashley's like, is there a strip club by? And he's like, Ashley wants you to find a strip club bus driver. She's like, that's not what I said. I guess it was cool that she didn't say, well, we have a stripper here, so if you want to see something popping, ask your wife, because we know that Ashley is shady enough to say some stuff like that. So I guess it's cool she didn't say that, but her and G, they butt heads apparently, and I don't blame her because he's very irritating. However, Ashley is too. So now when they get back to the house, Chris and Candace are in the room, and Chris is drunk out of his mind. He's like, you ladies just never stop. It's ridiculous. And he was actually giving Ashley props. He was like, listen, you're going to be mad. You're probably going to rip me a new one, but she's not that bad. And Candace is like, no, she's actually not that bad. And I'm like, she is. She's that bad. Chris basically tells Candace that she needs to stop giving in to, every little argument. He's like, anytime Ashley or anyone comes for you, at some point you have to let some stuff go. Like, you give them the response that they're looking for every single time. And she's like, oh, I'm done now. I'm done for the evening. I'm done for the weekend. I'll just be done. And I'm like, oh, it was that easy? Because really, in actuality, you guys, I don't understand why Candace was so mad. I get it that, Mia disrespected her and all that or whatever, but the level of anger that she was at was just like unreal. But anyway, she's done for the weekend, so great. So then we have Giselle and Robin, Dumb and Dumber, leaving for the evening, and she's again in the confessional complaining about how Wendy gives 0 Fs because, they have no bathroom and she's too busy being bitter. Whatever, Giselle. And she's like, bye. And I'm like, bye. So Escala's in there and they're explaining why they're leaving. And the little outfit, the little silk situation that Escala has on is really cute. And then we go into the room with G and Mia, and he is under the covers and in the bed. And she's getting ready to go to bed, but she's like, hey, dude, did you take a shower? And he's like, why? She's like, I'm just making sure you didn't get your dirty self in the bed. And I'm thinking, oh, he's definitely dirty and in that bed. So Giselle asked Escala to help her bring her bags downstairs like she's the help. And I'd have been like, girl, no. So what are you going to do? Have Robin run up and down because she'll do it gladly. And Escala and them were saying how they're really worried because Mia comes out, Candace comes out. They're like, no, it's after midnight and you guys are leaving. They're like, we have no bathroom. And I'm like, if I hear that one more time, because I still laugh on the inside about karma and the whole bathroom thing. So you might want to stop saying it. But then we see that Wendy and Eddie are actually awake and they know that they're leaving. And Wendy is in the room like, yeah, they're trying to get a moment, so we'll give it to them. Eddie doesn't care. He's like, here nor there. Like, he doesn't give a shit at all. So he's like, yeah, okay. I actually thought it was sweet that Mia asked if they want their, if they would like their room, and they said no. And then she said, Gordon, if he was awake, like if he was not just drunk off his ass, he would, offer up our room. And they're like, no, it's fine. So I thought that was nice. And what's her name? Robin is in the confessional saying how rude it would have been if Juan had come, because where were they going to sleep? In the room with Giselle? And I'm like, girl, everyone knew Juan was not coming except you. No, she knew it too. She knew Juan was not coming. Juan did not give it a thought. She probably didn't even tell him because she knew he was not coming. Juan does not entertain this foolishness at all. So the next morning, we have everyone calling their families and checking on the baby. So, all right, great. G and Mia are in the kitchen, and she's like, "What's for breakfast?" And she's like, "Yeah, this isn't luxury. There's no turn down service. No one got my bags. When we went to dinner and came back, the room was still terrible. Nobody's cleaning up here and everything." So he starts cooking. G is actually a totally different person when he's sober. He's like, yeah, so what happened last night? I couldn't really hear everything. I'm like, no, just go ahead and say, I was too drunk to take it all in. I have no idea what happened last night. Say that. So basically, Mia was just like, listen, Candace needs to grow up, bottom line, period. Um, so as the other girls are on their way down, Karen is talking to Wendy, and she's just like, look, I came to check on you because it wouldn't be a trip without Giselle and Robin, trying to pull something. So them leaving in the middle of the night was just ridiculous. And Wendy agreed. So in the confessional, Karen says, yeah, them leaving in the middle of the night was tackier than the way she dresses. She says, but that's typical Giselle. So in the kitchen, Mia and G are at the stove. Ashley and Karen come in, and Ashley's like, "Oh, G, you chefing?" He's like, "For Mia and I." And Mia's like, "G," and he's like, "No, I don't know how to cook for a big group." He was dead ass. He was serious. And you guys, what did Mia have on? What did she have on? It was like some kind of. I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt and say it was a swimsuit with a cover up. However, it was not. It was like a negligee type thing. And I'm like, girl, we saw you went to bed in tie dye. So why are you walking around with everyone's husbands here in your negligee? Inappropriate. Can you say inappropriate? But yeah, so Karen says, well, once you start cooking, the others are going to come, especially Giselle. So she's like, anytime there's food, as soon as she smells food, she shows up. And then production shows all the times that Giselle is, all about the food. So of course Ashley calls Giselle because her name was brought up, and I don't know what is going on with Ashley all up in Giselle and Robin's butt this season. I have no idea what's going on there. But she calls Giselle, and Karen comes around and looks at her, and she's like, "Oh, you're fine." And she's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You're theatrics and leaving in the middle of the night. You didn't say bye to anybody. You didn't say bye to the host." And Giselle's like, "Well, the host didn't say shit to me." So she's what did she call her? She's not really a host. And little did she know that Wendy was sitting on the other side of the counter. So she comes around, and Wendy is like, "I did speak to you." So yeah, Wendy's like, "Don't be a liar. I came up to your room and I spoke to you guys. So yeah, stop lying." And Giselle yells out, "She's so angry." And Wendy is just like, "What'd she say?" Karen says, "She called you angry." Yeah, she's just confrontational. So they get off the phone with her. Lord, so now the men are back in there. They're cooking. Chris comes down to cook the eggs and everything. And G tells Chris, I got drunk, I got undrunk, and now it's time to get redrunk. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, no, it's not. It's early in the morning. Of course, Chris says, sure, because Candace already let us know that he is quite the day drinker, and he's game. So yeah, he gets up. I don't know if he was going to get a drink or whatever, but he was all with it. Chris is with it. And he still had a major hangover. So for him to start again, I guess, hair of the dog. I don't know. So Wendy asked Mia about Candace and asked if she would be open to a conversation. And Mia says, yeah, if she wants to, I'm always open for a conversation. So I guess that was nice. All right, so finally Ray is arriving. He can barely get out the car. He got on his boat shoes, his water, and his members only jacket, and he is ready to play. So Karen sits Ray down, and she's kind of telling him everything that's happened. And of course he's like, ooh, oh, ah. But he's not really surprised. Ray has been here for how many seasons has this been going on? He knows exactly what happens here. Candace is upstairs. She went to sleep on the couch upstairs in their room because I guess she got up earlier and then sat on the couch and maybe fell asleep. So when they showed her, she was upstairs knocked out when Chris was downstairs cooking. But she's upstairs telling Chris how she doesn't feel like she should really go a whole lot because, she got a hangover, and our boat's good for hangovers. And he's like, yeah, and you're going. So I'm like, oh, she's trying to get out of it big time. Lord, so Giselle and Robin get there, and Giselle looks a hot ass mess. She got this boot on because, of course, her toe is broken or whatever. But the other shoe that you had on with the boot, like, what's the excuse for that? It looks a mess. You look a mess. She had on this long kind of airy summer dress. It was cute enough, but you should not have had on that gym shoe with it. It just looked a mess. Then, of course, Robin come in looking like Bam Bam. She had on a freaking cheetah girl. Literally, Bam Bam was the first thing I thought about when I saw it. And guess what? I thought it was a cover-up, like a swimsuit cover-up or whatever. No, when we saw it on the boat, it was actually overalls. This girl had on overall shorts that looked like Bam Bam. She is a hot ass mess. Ugh, Robin is just, ugh. She should have stayed home. She should have stayed home. So Candace asked everybody if they need any Dramamine. And Mia's like, is it Dramamine? I thought it was Dramamine. And she's like, girl, you're so full of drama. And I'm like, I thought it was Dramamine too. But it's hilarious because Candace was just looking at her. And in the confessional, she's once again saying how she's done. She's not about to argue with Mia. Y'all, so Wendy and Eddie come in the kitchen with their all white on or whatever. Skylar has on all white too. So Wendy's making when she came in, she said, hello, glad everyone's here, or glad you're here, something like that. But she was looking to the right, and Giselle was over to the left of her. When I tell you she did not look that way, Eddie didn't either. Like, neither one of them spoke to her. And I got a kick out of it. Was it rude? Sure. But does she deserve it? Of course. So yeah, of course she caught it, and in the confessional, she's like, yeah, she didn't even look at me. And she's talking about how Wendy didn't greet her or anything, and she's like, it's great for me because I didn't want to talk to her either. And I'm like, no ma'am, you were bothered. When you saw that she did not look at you at all, your face was clearly bothered. And you're talking about it in the confessional, so yes, you were bothered. So Ray comes in, he greets everyone, says hello to Skylar and Dre because he had never met them. He turns to Giselle. She's like, yeah, I got a broken toe. He's like, how'd you break your toe? Messing around with your wife. So he starts laughing. He's like, Karen, Giselle's saying you broke her toe. And then he's like, how'd you miss her neck? And I'm like, Ray is quick with the slick ones. Like, he'll hit you with in the words of Cody, he'll hit you with a hot one real quick. Cody is my brother-in-law, you guys. I know you're like, who the heck is Cody? Yeah, that's my brother-in-law. Shout out to Cody. But yeah, so in the confessional, Giselle is like, Ray is really funny, so I like to laugh at him. So I want him to live so I can laugh. Yeah, so as soon as they get on the boat, Chris gets to a little bench or whatever part, and he's like, this gonna be my area right here in the sun, getting some color. And the music was like, And I'm like, Chris, we don't say color. Dude, say you getting a tan, but don't play with us. Don't say you getting some color. Don't play with us. So did y'all catch when on the boat, Candace asked Chris if he wants a Dramamine, and he's like, you got some? And so he gives it to her, and then she offers it to everyone else, and she's about to say she's about to mispronounce it again, but instead of doing that, she says, anybody want a motion sickness pill? I died because yes, that is what you do. If you are unsure, switch that shit up, Candace, my girl. So Skylar and Robin are downstairs getting something to eat, something to drink, and Skylar gets a Corona, and I'm like, Lord, quit having this girl say thank you. I'm like, if she says thank you one more time, I am going to throw up. And she said it about 7 times. Oh no, thank you, thank you. I'm like, girl, it's just thank you. Okay, just thank you. So they're talking about how the girls slept. Robin's like, yeah, we slept fine. And she's like, listen, I understand the whole you snooze, you lose thing, but she actually says she was not offended. She didn't think it was directed towards them, but she just thought that it was not proper planning. And I'm like, wow, never heard her say that she didn't think it was directed towards them. Is she saying this because Giselle is not around and she can tell her real feelings? So basically, they're just down there talking about how, Skylar's like, listen, I hate being in the middle because I like you, I like her, and, I just feel a little awkward. Robin's like, listen, you don't have to feel awkward. You can be friends with both of us. It's fine. And, Skylar's like, well, I just want peace. So hopefully you guys can talk. And she's like, nah, there's not really a conversation to be had. Because anytime I try to talk to Wendy, it's confrontational and combative and this and that. And I'm like, here she is playing victim. And she's not happy with you. Why, Robin? Are we not speaking about all the shit you did to her? Like the stuff stuff that you said about her, the fact that you guys were coming for her marriage and everything. It kills me how Robin and Giselle act like they did absolutely nothing wrong, and Wendy just is acting totally shitty to them. No, you guys did something to her first. She was fine with you all. You guys did it to her first. So anyway, Mia comes downstairs to get a little something on her plate. She goes upstairs being Mia. So Mia goes upstairs and she's like, Wendy, I heard that you're not the same person that you were last year. And everybody's like, where'd you hear that at? And where you get that from? And she's like, oh, downstairs, Robin and Skylar talking. And I'm like, Mia, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what's wrong with you? So of course Wendy goes on a tangent about how she's not the same, and if Robin is the same, then shame on her because she needs to evolve and grow. And okay, it's not even what Mia said it was, so you can calm down, Wendy. So when Robin and Skylar come upstairs, Mia's like, welcome back, friends. I missed you. Wendy may not have missed you, but I missed you. And Robin's looking like, what is she talking about? So Mia says, I overheard you guys talking downstairs. And then Ashley turns to Robin and says, so she came upstairs and reported it to the group. And Robin is still looking dumbfounded, like, what? What did she report? So Robin says, I said that our relationship is not the same that it was last year. And Wendy turns to Mia and says, that is not what you said, Mia. And then Mia's looking and laughing, and she's like, oh, and they're all like, oh, Mia, you're terrible at telephone. So basically, I think it's just where we all know that Mia is messy and Mia's a liar. So you have to take everything she says with a grain of salt. She is trying very hard to have moments. So there it is. And again, she says, oh, if I was wrong, then I can apologize if I was wrong. And I'm like, you know you were wrong. She's always trying to make a moment. So basically, Wendy just says, listen, she's not different or whatever. You just learn where people should be in your life and you just place them in that space and you deal with them accordingly. Like, that's all it is. It has nothing to do. I mean, like, it's just ridiculous because, again, we're acting like Robin and Giselle did nothing. Yeah, so Robin is then saying how she doesn't really have any kind of conversation for this whole thing. She left because she felt like that's what she had to do. She did not feel comfortable being in a house full of men who are pissing on the floor. And all the men are looking around like, who? Chris is like, I didn't piss on the floor. And Ray says, I didn't piss on the floor. I'm like, what is she talking about? And Karen in the confessional says, you know who I think pissed on the floor? Robin. Robin pissed on the floor. She says that she just wants all the men out because she is uncomfortable. I'm like, sure, she wants to be the only man there. So as they're talking, Robin's like, I did what I thought I had to do. And so, I'm fine. I didn't want anything else. I'm good. And she's like, I think Giselle may have been expecting something. And Giselle's like, nah, I'm good on Wendy. And Wendy's like, yeah, I'm good on you. We're good on each other because you're just a bully. You're a mean girl. She's like, and you're combative. Giselle just cannot take the fire. Wendy gives hot fire. She gives them that hot fire back. And Giselle and Robin just can't take it. But as they're talking, Robin's like, why are we talking like this around the guys? And G says, all I'm missing is a skirt. So the guys go downstairs so the women can continue arguing because that's what they do. So Mia's asking if they resolved their issues, Wendy and them. And she's like, listen, there'll be no resolve right now. And she's like, how about you and Candace talk? And they said, okay, let's do it. Let's talk. So Mia starts off, which was very big of her. And she was like, listen, I'll start. And, I'm just getting to know you. I never want to be responsible for inflicting bad energy and everything to someone. She's like, obviously I struck a nerve with you and that is not what I meant and I'm sorry. Very good, Mia. Very good. So Mia continues saying that she apologized for asking her mom questions that, maybe weren't her business or whatever. And she apologized for hurting her. And Candace says, I appreciate your apology. However, it wasn't the questions that really triggered me. It was the fact that you called my situation low budget. And of course, she starts crying and doing her little tear dab thing and talking about how she's just scared because, she's trying again at this music thing. She doesn't know where it's going to go and everything. So she's like, all she wants is for somebody or people to respect what she has going on. You don't have to like it, you don't have to understand it, you don't have to love it, but you do have to respect it. So they give this whole apology back and forth. She says she never, she did not know what was going on with Mia's mom, and she would have never, tried to hurt her like that. So apologies all around. So then Mia talks and she tells her how, listen, if we get into it, I would prefer you attack me rather than attack my mom. She is a recovering addict. She did time in prison. Apparently she did like 8 years in prison. She's a recovering addict. She's been clean for 10 years. She says she's all into the word and she's doing well for herself. And she just doesn't want her feelings to get hurt pretty much when she looks back on this season and she sees what's being said about her at no fault of her own. Ugh, you guys. And then she tells a story about how her mom and dad died while she was in prison, so she didn't get a chance to bury them. And Giselle said exactly what I was thinking. Normally, they'll let you out to attend the funeral of like parents or grandparents and stuff like that, like people that are really close to you. And she said, well, they did give her that option. However, they would not, they would still have her in shackles. They refused to take the shackles off of her, and she didn't want to be seen like that. So she missed the funerals, and I get it. The shackle part, well, I mean, I guess you can't say what happens everywhere else, but I do know that my cousin was able to come to my grandmother or grandfather's funeral. I can't remember, but I don't think he was shackled at all. Yeah, but I actually can't remember. So yeah, I mean, that's just very traumatic and very awful for her mom. Alright, so after she finished telling her story, her and Candace pieced it up or whatever, all is well. They end up getting back to the dock, they get off, they get back on the bus. Okay, and then long story short, when they get back on the bus, Ashley is kind of falling asleep on the window, and G is making jokes about her, like, look at Ashley, and it's not a huge deal. Ashley just really don't see it for G. She really doesn't, because she even said in her confessional he irritates her to no end. And I'm like, you live with somebody who is an irritant. How is this possible? So they end up going back and forth, and G really is irritating. However, in this instance, I don't think he was really all that bad, even though Karen was like, oh, he's wrong, because he ended up seeing that she was getting snippy with him while he was joking with her, like, oh, look at you. And he was like, if I would have known that you were awake, I wouldn't have said anything. And she's like, yeah, but you should have just left me over here in my spot doing my thing or whatever. And so when he found out she was getting snippy, then he got snippy back or whatever, and was like, well, because I can, and next time I will, because that's what I can do. And I'm like, I ain't mad at it. But again, Karen, kind of mouthed to Ray that he was wrong. I don't think he was wrong. I think Ashley just don't like him. Ashley got upset because he's not her cup of tea. So that's it. They get into it. Not a huge deal. They get back to the house. Yada, yada. See you next week. Yeah, so I enjoyed this episode. It was cool. But if you are still here, you are my real MVP. And I thank you for coming back. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe. I appreciate it. And again, I want to say hello and welcome to my new beautiful my new beautiful subbies. I appreciate you guys so much. But do you guys watch Succession on HBO? That's my show. I really think I want to review it. But then again, I kind of don't, because I don't think enough people really watch it. But that show is the shit, y'all. Y'all should really look at that. And it's coming back tonight. So I guess I'm just going to go and watch it and try to enjoy, since I don't know if I'll be reviewing it, because I don't know if enough people watch. Again, thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. And I will see you in the next video. Smooches.